The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, squeezably soft host. Once more, do we go into the breach, dear friend? As always, we like to come to you at this time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
And what do we have happening today? Well, we were up to 2454, which is exactly where we were talking about resistance coming in. We sold all off that, came back down to basically unchanged in most of the indexes. The NASDAQ kind of flat now. The S&P still up 8 points. But what do we have? Well, we had Aunt Blabby out there talking this morning, Mrs. Yellen. Yellen was yelling. And I don't know if there's anything else more to say about that. And, oh, yes, I will play the Yellen theme when I get to talking about her later. But for the most part, just her speech coming out at 10 o'clock. I went ahead and read the speech because I know I can't trust anybody in the media any longer. Doesn't matter on which side. I'm sure Arthur Murrow is spinning in his grave right now when he looks at the weasels and worthless scum that now purport to be journalists who are only mouthpieces from one side or the other. So you kind of have to, I don't watch any news anymore. I kind of like read it, and I kind of have my little propaganda bell that goes off just about instantly when I know it's one, clickbait, or two, another issue. So I went ahead and read Janet's statements herself. She said herself, without the filter of everybody telling me what they think it means and how they can slam a particular politician and or advance their twisted and sick agenda. If you can't tell, I'm a little miffed today that I can't just go out there, get some decent reporting and not have it all colored by filthy weasels that purport to want to help me when if they would just tell me the truth, things would be nice. Anyway, I heard a lot, as I was trying to get to her speech, I read a few comments that when I read her speech had no basis in fact. They wanted to play up the drama between the president and Mrs. Yellen. This is probably Yellen's last big speech. If you look at the betting, yes, they're betting on it. She has less than a 20% chance of being the next Fed president. And the only person that President Trump has talked about is Gary Cohen. So I don't know if he will take the lead seat in that or if there's something else going on. But it is, what is that? Turn this up a little bit more. It just sounds like I'm losing my headphones here. I know they're there. Anyway, maybe we'll hear. Nope. This sounds like I've lost my headphones. Getting back to what Janet Yellen said, I took a detour out there. They wanted to make it a big deal. She's just saying she doesn't want any big changes to fiscal reform that we had in 2009, that it could be improved around the edges, but that was about it. No real big, strong sentiments on the dollar. And for the most part, they tried to really push this into, of course, a narrative that they could attack the president on. And I think there was very little or anything to do with him. in this. So anyway, Gary Cohen, lead guy, chance that she'll be the next FOMC appointee, less than 20%. So we may be saying goodbye to her in the near future. Of course, in about 50 minutes, we've got Mr. Draghi for the Europeans. And I can't get over his name. Maybe it's just me, but if you remember the James Bond thing, the evil villain when they were using the space shuttle was named Draghi. And so every time I hear it, I can only think of that kind of evil guy that they had as the head of the space guy. They had the guy that's known as Jaws with all the diamonds. Remember that? That's a good movie. Anyway, we're up 8.5 points, 8.8 points on the S&P cash. Not a lot happening. What I will say is that there continues to be no volume in this market. I've complained because we had 1.65 billion shares yesterday. We've got 1.52 billion shares as we start the show. In fact, we're 11 minutes in from the top of the hour with 1.52 billion shares. So there is no volume up. There is no volume down. And in my newsletter today, I kind of go back to Cool and Luke. Sometimes no position is a great place to be. I'm going to wait for this. My guess is that we're going to continue to see some little volatility, but next week is going to be the Big Mac Daddy. Either we're going to go down into next Friday on light volume, or we're going to go up next Friday in light volume, and that's going to tell you probably all the things you need to know. You want to take the opposite side of whichever way that thing goes most likely, especially with the light volume. Shorting continues to be very minute. A lot more people buying S&P futures contracts and options. Very little in the actual equities these days in shorting, and that always makes me nervous because if you do go down, it's always nice to have people that want to buy shares back, like shorts. When you have no shorts, you literally have the elevator that has no car in it. You walk into the elevator, it can go all the way to the bottom before you find any support. So, what else? I think of Mario Andretti. Why do you think of Mario Andretti? Why race car? I'm not. Yeah, I've got some kind of bad setup here, but I don't know what it is. Nothing's changed here. That's what I always hear. Let's see what else. It was great to begin with, but now it kind of sounds horrible. So anyway, we'll try to get this fixed during the break. Again, very light volume, not all that much excitement happening. And we're getting to the break anyway. We'll talk about a little bit of market history when we come back. And then we'll get into charts for the rest of the day. And is it possible to find out who's short the GDX? Oh,
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Technomental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Technomental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Technomental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
I have one thing to say, and that's, damn it, Janet, I love you. The road was long, but I ran it.
Well, I guess that's a little bit of Rocky Horror Picture Show. The one thing I never watched. I kind of heard bits and pieces of it. I was not one of those people to go down at 2 a.m. in the morning, blottoed, to sit in there and have people throw things in the theater. But, knock themselves out. As always, we like to start the show off with a little bit of history.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
And on this day in 1935, the first of a series of 6 articles announcing the supposed discovery of life on the moon appears in the New York Sun newspaper, collectively known as the Great Moon Hoax. These articles were supposedly reprinted from the Edinburgh Journal of Science, which did not exist. The byline was Dr. Andrew Grant, described as a colleague of Sir John Herschel, a famous astronomer of the day. Herschel was off somewhere in South Africa, and they couldn't get a hold of him. So these things ran for a while. In the fake news department, this was a pretty embarrassing run of fake news. But it makes me think about how many times these things come back. If you remember, during the Clinton administration, he was running around with some gal, and he told her about the possibility of life on Mars, on a Mars rock. And remember, that hit the news. Of course, there was no life in there. But it's these things tend to come around a great deal. And the one thing I always like to think about is a great saying, is that extraordinary claims need extraordinary proof. Well, there was little of that, but they were able to keep this thing rolling. It was a yellow newspaper of the time, the New York Sun, for a fairly long time. But whether it's now or it was in the 90s, we as humans kind of think that we're getting much smarter. and the same thing happens over and over. The reason, we get caught a little quicker now because of the internet, but for the most part, everybody wants to think that human nature has changed over, significantly over the last 100 years or something, because we've got more technology, we've got other things. And the answer is that human nature probably really hasn't changed collectively since we started writing it down some 6,000 years ago for recorded history. Hoaxes will come and go, and the weasels in the press will lie ad nauseum. But I don't think there's anything else I can say about it. Just always thought it was interesting that these same kind of stories come round and round and round. We're up 9.5 points on the S&P cash. One of the questions in the den was that can we actually, let me get a chart up here. Can we actually know who's short? And in this case, the question is GDX. And I will expand this to any ETF. Can we know who's short or long a particular stock? And the same rules apply. If they get to a certain percentage, they have to file. Most of that time, it's somewhere around 5%. So if they keep, you'll see that there's rules that kick in at 5%, and there are more rules that kick in at 10%. And I think they're long, the same long or short. So unless you see one of those 10 Qs roll out on Friday night, normally Friday night, sometimes Thursday night, that actually states that one of these funds I don't think I've ever seen one with an individual, but normally these are bigger funds, will actually broach that 5%. You'll find out short or long that they'll report that happens. Sometimes you will actually hear one of these folks like Citron on CNBC or Fox Business News or Bloomberg state that they are short a certain percent. But ever since a few of these big shorts have had their shorts ripped off of them, a la, what was that one? The brown pills my dad used to take. I can't really think of it right now. The vitamin company. That's kind of everybody claims is a pyramid. I'll think of it in a minute. But Herbalife, that's what it is. I was thinking about Herbalife. Anyway, when you get into those, you can see it. But again, one of the things is that you don't want to be in a position you can't get out of, and that's what we learned with Herbalife. It had very little to do with the profits in the stock. It had all to do with the ability to run shorts out of it. Eventually, that will come back to its realistic price, which I suspect is much lower, especially with the changes in the rules for advertising for supplements. But also just for the fact that multi-level marketing, which is, if it's 1% different than a Ponzi scheme, that's hard for me to believe, but at least they think it's still legal. But any of these schemes eventually have to fail. All you need to do is sit down with a spreadsheet and figure out how many people can win and how many people have to lose for those people that win. It's a mathematical problem. It's not something that you should be emotional about. But guess what? True believers are true believers. Multi-level marketing has a mathematical basis for how much money can be won at the very top position, the ones just below it, and how many thousands of people you have to have below you to break even. Pretty long well. Anyway, there's very little, if anything, you can do in the GDX, but look through the 10 Qs. You can look through those on Hoover. I will try to check during the break and see if there's any kind of filings, but I haven't heard any, haven't seen any. Normally those things turn up in my news feeds. Maybe I missed it, but my guess is that you will never know. The only time you can find out is sometimes if you are part of those hedge funds that did short these positions, they will only send out that information if you are part of the hedge fund. You have no right to it if you do not. And there's good reasons for that, because they would just come out after you. I remember reading one of the great books by James Wyckoff, who's kind of the patron saint of price volume trading. And of course, what is he talking about in his book? I think it's called Adventures and Misadventures and Adventures on Wall Street. I've got it in the other room. I'll go pull it. He talked about writing a newsletter being very effective, making a lot of money. This is back in the 20s. And what people would do is put up phony people to get his newsletter so they could get it and try to run his customers out of the positions. And pretty soon he had to get rid of all his stops, because basically all they did was run his positions to go after the retail client on Wall Street. And that's kind of why you don't want to be too big on Wall Street and get too well noticed. Then you get the focus, and someone's always going to try to separate you from your money. We'll be back after this.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And when we were talking before, I said Hoover, that's a paid site. for business news. But the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission runs a website. I don't think we talk about it much here, but any filing that anybody has to do with the SEC is publicly available on the SEC site, EDGAR site. That's EDGAR. And all you've got to do is go to that site and type in GDX. You will find any forms that are available here. And again, you're probably not going to find too much. A lot of these things are regulatory. Penny, on ETFs, you just don't find that much. See if there's anything else. Okay. Here's one that was kind of interesting. Force Shares LLC. And you just go through them, but normally on an individual stock that's not an ETF where they've got earnings and stuff, you'll find all the 10Qs that they put into these things. It's just the ETFs tend to be so large today that you don't get any of those people hitting 5%. It's not like a single individual company. But if you go to that front page at Edgar, well, I guess it's, what is it, sec.gov. That's actually what they call the Edgar site. And it's got tutorials on there. You can do most of the stuff that if you have a big Bloomberg, you can do. You just don't have to pay the 35 grand a year to own the Bloomberg terminal. So just a little bit more work, but something you can always check out. And yes, by popular request, we've got to actually go back and play the Janet Yellen theme that I forgot to play earlier.
You talk too much, you worry me to death. You talk too much, you even worry my pet. You just talk
too much. We won't have her around forever to kick around. Not much longer anyway. But it's only a matter of time. All these people kind of make the rounds. I was kind of absolutely laughing my rear end off when I saw that Barney Frank was now one of the biggest insiders at a bank that there is in his retirement. Of course, the guy that was supposed to go back and clean the whole thing up is actually getting the payoff so richly deserved by government officials. But interesting. Okay, so what else do we want to look at here today? Just not that much going on. There were a few things happening out here earlier in the day. Let me get back to those. Again, I don't think we can bring up too much here. I think the market, as we said, is looking for at this lighter volume right now, which is, let me look at it out here. 1.625 billion shares. So we got no juice going up today. If you look at this as a down day, I don't see how you could. But again, it would be no volume. But this is just we got right up to the previous highs we had last week, which is 24.54. It rolled back down. Did it come down with juice? No. Did it go up with juice? No. Sometimes no position is a great position to have, but we'll get into some of this other one. You can always call me at 877-927-6648. You can email me at path@tfnn.com, and of course, you can post a message in the den. What else? Okay. BHP. What do we have? That's a $2 billion stake in Jansen Potash mine. So potash is getting some love today. What you have out here is the beginnings of a abandoned baby. If this thing closes back lower on Monday, back around the $41.50 level, maybe gaps down, you could have a fairly decent looking abandoned baby on this. They're talking about making a mine and doing some other stuff on it. What is it? IPI for intrepid potash. Okay, now this one had some juice back on the 2nd and on the 4th of this month. Almost 5 million shares, and 4.7, almost 5. Today, up on 1 million shares, going back into this gap down that happened after those huge signs of strength. That's not really making me think that good about the BHP deal. See what else we have out here. See, a lot of small stocks moving big, but that's not much going on. Let's take a quick look at JC Penney. Okay, of course, this one got crushed on earnings. No big surprise. This is one of the stocks in my Walking Dead portfolio, along with Sears and BlackBerry and the rest of these stocks that seem to hang on forever as they suck every dime of money out of the company before it goes bankrupt. No juice on this one on the news today. This thing continues to have come down in its death throes back on the 11th with 117 million shares. Today we're doing 9 million shares. So, man, if this thing gets back up above 425 again, I think it's going to be, that's going to be probably the last hurrah before that goes bankrupt. Macy's out with news. So what do we have in that one? They're declaring a 3/8 quarterly dividend in line with previous belief. Forward yield 7%, payable October 2nd. And if there's anything in this one, don't think so. Up a little bit on that, but that's about it. See if there's anything. Credit Suisse, after our discussion yesterday about CMG, it's still up a little bit here today. But of course, there's some people out there throwing cold water on CMG when they should be throwing, of course, Pepto-Bismol at the folks. But it's up, and Credit Suisse warning about avocado prices. How can you think about it like that? Okay, got some questions coming in about every Thursday published, and on Friday is the futures, short and long positions, the commitment of traders. But again, other than the fact that you see those traders as either individuals or market professionals or big companies, you still don't know who it is. You just know what division they're in, right? You still don't know who it was that shorted it. We'll be back after this.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock in option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
If you're looking to open your portfolio to a world of opportunity, consider the new market-safe emerging currency CD from Everbank. This 3-year U.S. dollar-denominated CD gives you exposure to 5 equally weighted currencies from Brazil, China, India, Indonesia, and Turkey at a time when experts see great potential for global growth. Even better, it features a 7.0 leverage factor, which means you could earn a potential market upside payment of 7 times the CD's performance at maturity with no cap if the currencies increase in value over the CD's term. And should the opposite occur, your principal is 100% protected. Keep in mind, returns are based on CD performance. There is no annual percentage yield or periodic rate of interest on this index CD. Don't miss out. The September 28th funding deadline will be here before you know it. So call 1-855-750-4051 or visit everbank.com/TFNN for the CD's term sheet and other important product details and disclosures. This advertisement is sponsored content. Everbank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC.
The TAS Profile Scanner Plus, developed by John Logan and his team, is a standalone piece of software that can change the way you trade. Let the TAS Profile Scanner work for you by scanning over 5,000 financial instruments such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. Right now, you can get a 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner Plus right at TFNN.com. And when you sign up, you gain instant access to John Logan's most recent webinar, How Price, Volume, and Time Make Market Profile So Unique. This hour-long webinar with John Logan will walk you through the most powerful features of the scanner and how you can use it to become a more successful and profitable trader. You pay absolutely nothing for 30 days while you try out this software risk-free. For more information on the TAS Profile Scanner and to get your 30-day free trial today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And my Tech Insider will be coming out shortly, if it's not out already, for the day. And I think the biggest news this week in machine learning and literally in tech together has literally gone unnoticed. I wrote about it today, so you can always go and check out a free 30-day trial. Just go to the front page of TFNN under Investing Newsletters and take a look at the Tech Insider. So what else do we have going on today? Well, that's we're looking at Perry Ellis. We talked about this one yesterday. He had a big sign of strength. Continuation today in Perry Ellis. And the volume's actually fairly decent. Looks like this is going to get to 22.35, which is the April 20th high. So not much news going on in that. To see if there's anything else going around that I want to look at. Pure Storage. Now, this is an interesting company, PSTG. Haven't looked at it for a while. You got a new CEO and a pop. This is a bunch of people who just thought that they were going to put a bunch of memory together. And this thing was like a big IPO when it came out, if I remember correctly. Let's go back and look a little farther back. Is that it? That's it. Always kind of an interesting play out here. They just kind of thought that they'd plug a bunch of stuff together and it would work. Kind of surprised to see this company coming back from the dead. I thought it was completely dead. It's got a high volume load down at $9.12, so that can always get retested. But this one always seemed kind of iffy, sketchy, slimy maybe even as an IPO. Sometimes people are just stupid. Sometimes they are just shysters. That one kind of always thought maybe. This one kind of leaned to that side. Unclear, though. There's not damning evidence. It just seemed that they didn't have a compelling case when this came out for their idea of just gluing a bunch of memory together to come up with a solution. But, yeah, that's it. Let's take a quick look at A&F after yesterday. This retail sector has me kind of interested just because there's a handful of these stocks that look like they have bottomed. Of course, yesterday it was a Crombie and Fitch, or the day before with earnings, and a second day of follow through without, and the volume is not all that bad. You're just filling this gap down, though, that had almost 28 million shares back on the 10th. And this is kind of a class of these companies that have monster short positions. Anything that means that they're not going out of business tomorrow generally leads to a short squeeze. Take a quick look at Snap, and we'll look at Twitter next. Another one, Snap, interesting to me. I tried to play it with an option. It didn't pan out for me. But this thing continues to have a monster, almost 50% short interest in it. And, eventually this thing's probably going to run $5 to $7. Question is just when. TWTR, we'll look at this one. Man, this thing had a ton of out rumors a couple weeks ago. It ran back up to $20.88. Of course, it fell back like a souffle. I always like to bring this up because most people that were born, 1980, just didn't get the bad 70s TV shows that we got, where every episode, at least once a year, had to do with the wife of somebody like the Bradys putting a souffle in the oven, asking everybody not to slam the doors to the house. But of course, Marcia would have to come in and slam the door, and the souffle would fall. Well, Twitter fell just like the proverbial souffle on the Brady Bunch. Not sure which square it would have been in, but it's down. You're certainly looking at about $15 on this. Now, if you get back down there again with lighter volume, not a bad test out here on August 11th. No one really still sees the way that these guys are going to monetize their business. They have a big enough business. If they can start making some money off of it, it would be interesting. I'm going to say that I've got kind of a theory of a lot of these stocks right now, and that is that they've lost their focus. They are basically running around like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to be politically correct in Silicon Valley, because that's the most important thing. Not making money, not making sure your company is doing well, but making sure that you're ideologically pure. And when you start seeing that, or people start buying new buildings or buying jets, normally you kind of think of a lot of these guys and the founders that aren't focused on making sure the company goes well. Oh, which brings me up another one. I was pretty sure that GoPro was going to go to almost nothing when this guy bought a yacht at $150 million right after the IPO. I thought that was, besides all the other crazy stuff he was doing and selling and giving away, it certainly looked to me like that was one of the signals. Now, you had a big pop on this one on earnings. It did back, mostly fill the gap, did so on very light volume. But again, one of these stocks that's out there that has gonna be problematic. It's Sears, BlackBerry. You're just not going to make money when you can buy a camera for 1/10 the price that's 90% as good. Are they still going to have business? The answer is yes. It's like Apple, but they're going to continue to lose market share. They're going to eventually be the most expensive sports cam in the world. But even though they made a pretty good drone, they're not doing as well as DJI in the drone business. And, they've got a pretty good system. It's kind of priced right. It's going to keep them in business for a while. But at one point, I just don't understand why everything that they make isn't a commodity. The big lie out there that they're a media company has pretty much fallen flat. The question is, what can they do to keep the stock up? And my thoughts are not a whole lot. This thing's probably coming back into the low 8s. Maybe if it consolidates a little bit, but my guess is the only thing that's going to make this stock go up is Mr. Woodman, whose dad basically, I think, helped him engineer this giant, you can't call it a fraud, because I think everybody knew what it was going in, but certainly, again, kind of lean into the riding dirty. I always liked that guy. Or he was riding dirty. But anyway, kind of riding dirty as they went into this IPO. Everybody ran it up on Wall Street only so that they could short it. And yes, this is the stock that people were paying a 20% premium at over $100 to short. Yeah, you live and learn. We'll be back after this.
Hi, folks. The 800th edition of the Gold Report will be published next Monday. To celebrate the last 15 and a half years of calling the gold market, I'm doing a special promotion. You can receive 60 weeks of the Gold Report for only $600. That is $10 a week, which is a savings of 50% off the regular price. If you want to understand the entire supply and demand equations that move the gold market, including where the XAU, HUI, and mining equities are looking to trade, if you want to understand the correlation between the dollar, the yen, the South African rand, bonds, and gold, the Gold Report is for you. I'll give you the entry price target, and stop for each equity, ETF, future, or option trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter with the focus on building real wealth to a successful portfolio of gold and silver equities. You can take advantage of this special promotion until August 27th. That's 60 weeks of the Gold Report for $600, which is a 50% savings. Go to the front page of TFNN.com or call 877-518-9190 and order now.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And what else do we have going on here? Let's go check back into the markets, which are already in progress over most of TFNN. And let's see, what do we have? Still up 9.5 points on the S&P cash. That 24.54 is pretty decent resistance. And, of course, we're going to come into that with way lighter volume. Yesterday, the volume increased just a little bit over Wednesdays, not that much. But today, if we're only doing 1.7 billion shares with an hour to go, this is going to be an extra light volume day. And that tends to make me think that we are still stuck in a trading range, that being 24.54 down to 24, probably 30. And if we had some bad news, maybe we get down to 24.22 on the S&P cash. But there's just not that much happening. Up 6 on the big NASDAQ. And I don't know if there's anything else you can say on that. See, want to take a quick look at CRM, see if there's any follow-through. Went through their earnings call last night. And like I said, it just doesn't seem like there was much out here other than the fact that it wasn't bad enough to get the shorts not to cover. And it's not good enough to get anybody to buy. This thing's got a nice spike out here to 95.23 today on no volume, 3.7 million shares compared to 5.5 yesterday and $12 million the day before. Again, there's just not a lot of people that want to stick their necks out, go prairie dogging into the weekend. Maybe that changes on Monday. My guess, or my hope, let me put it this way, would be that if I want to be long, that I'm going to continue to keep an eye on this market and hope that it comes back on light volume lower into Friday's close next week. If you're bearish, you want the thing probably to go up on lighter volume next week. And we're just going to continue, I think, to see lighter volume. In the meantime, so when you can, not when you have to. We'll see you Monday. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.